welcome. Welcome in or welcome back if you are a returning subscriber. This reading is for the sign True Sky Pisces for the month of August. So August this year, eclipse season for this year. So we have the South Node in True Sky Leo. So that's why the nodes are involved here. So there's a total solar eclipse and new moon in Leo on the 12th of August. This is the True Sky system. I know that it would also be in Leo for the tropical system, whereas this time the Vedic would be Cancer. So they don't always coincide, the systems. Sometimes, actually often, the Vedic is, more in line with True Sky. However, there are times when the tropical system is still in line with the True Sky. So then we have the partial lunar eclipse and full moon in True Sky Aquarius on August the 27th to the 28th. So as this is eclipse season, but they are in fixed signs, I don't really see a lot of Pisces having, it depends on what else you have going on in your chart, obviously. If you have Aquarian placements or Leo or, any of the other fixed signs or fire or air, like prominent around those degrees, that would interact with this, the nodes at the moment. It might not be as strong for you. However, having Pisces as a rising sign could make this eclipse happen in your 6 to 12 axis. So that would be the North Node would be in your 12th and the South Node would be in your 6th house. So interesting, because obviously the 12th house is Pisces' natural house, and having the North Node there would obviously, really reinforce those Piscean types of energies in your life and in your chart. But that's for the Pisces rising. So if you are here for because you have a Pisces rising, that could be what's going on for you, highlighting all those issues. Also, if your sun or moon or any other significant placement is in Pisces, you'd have to look at your whole chart to really know how it's affecting you, and then therefore what houses it's playing out in. So for the total solar eclipse and new moon in Leo, the core themes are around releasing pride, stopping the need for constant external applause, and resetting your core creative identity. And then for the full moon partial lunar eclipse in Aquarius, the tension point is around individual self-expression and collective responsibility, group belonging versus individual sovereignty. And we do still have some interesting alignments this month. We do have Venus in True Sky Virgo, which is your opposite sign. So at some point during this month, that Venus will oppose your Pisces, or depends on where your Pisces placements are or Pisces placement is. And then also that is going to be forming Venus in Virgo, a grand trine with Uranus and Taurus and Pluto in Capricorn. So those two other signs could be sextiling your Pisces placement or placements as well, which obviously, you know, is quite interesting having, because it's a lot softer energy there. And we do currently have Mercury and Mars in true sky Gemini. So they could also be challenging your Pisces placement or placements, which does bring a little bit more challenging energies. And then also true sky Jupiter is still in true sky Cancer. So I keep saying true sky. So that's just the system that I follow here, you know, as accurately as I can. But yeah, Jupiter is in Cancer in the true sky system, and that is a sign that trines true sky Pisces. So, I mean, not always, it depends on what degree you're in, but that motherly, you know, family orientated, nourishing kind of energy that Jupiter is in at the moment is very beneficial for that, you know, the more spiritual, empathic kind of Piscean energy. So the first deck I have here for you for the month of August is the Tarot of the Sorceress, and on the bottom of the deck we have the Five of Earth, which is an interesting card. So the Five of Earth is like your Five of Pentacles, and it does suggest that there may be an underlying energy this month of, you know, some kind of financial restriction, even if it is temporary, but there is that energy there. There could be some kind of scarcity and poverty, and that's mostly in your own situation. So outside of yourself, within your society, there would be other signs of abundance that you could look to try to get support from. And then the first card that we have is the Four of Water for you for the month of August, which does suggest that this month may involve energies around stagnation and withdrawal, and also boredom. So there may be, you know, a sense of that in your life where you're just not very satisfied with the way things are. And then your crowning card is the Fool this month. So there is definitely a sense of a new beginning. Because it is your crowning card, so that is a very spiritual card. It's to do with the crown kind of energy of the month. So the top three cards here are to do with the top three chakras. So we have your crown and your third eye and your throat chakras. And then you have the Six of Fire. So this is a lot more dynamic energy here. In fact, it does talk about some type of celebration and victory, which is also celebrated by those that are around you. This could be to do with this new beginning. So after being, you know, quite bored and dissatisfied, there is a period where you are actually having, you know, quite a positive experience. Then you have the Eight of Air. So these three middle cards are more to do with your throat, heart, and then solar plexus, the middle kind of chakras. And the Eight of Air suggests that there is a sense of self-limitation and the feeling of being paralyzed. So then you have for the central card, the Justice card. So the Justice card has some interesting energies. It's linked with balance, perfection, cutting through, value, judgment, cheating, authorization, and prohibiting. So it's also linked with normalization and rules, also the law. So there could be some of these themes really central to your month. And then you have the card, the major arcana card of the World. So we have two major arcana cards in the center here. The World is a very positive card. It does indicate, once again, that victory and celebration energy. However, it also has an energy of completion. So there's something wrapping up this month. There's some kind of completion. And it may even feel like this completion has a sense of justice attached to it, because it is next to connecting here, this Justice card. And as the Justice card is that central card for you for the month, it's touching every other card here. So all these energies will really interact with this card. And then having that World card, there is some kind of celebration that's linked also with that Six of Fire. So some kind of outward celebration attached with this ending that is happening. Then you have on the bottom here, the bottom three cards, which are linked to those bottom three chakras. So the base, the sacral, and the solar plexus. You have the King of Earth. So this could be someone in your life this month. They could be of the earth signs, or strong placements in the earth houses, or the ruling planets of the earth signs, strongly placed in their chart. And they are linked to this sense of justice as well. And here also with that celebration energy, but also that self-limiting energy as well is linked with them. Then for the base of the matter, you have the Queen of Air. So the Queen of Air is a very intellectual woman here, but doesn't have to be a woman. It's a feminine. And she is traditionally linked with the energies of the divorcee or the widow, and could be of the air signs, the air houses, or the ruling air planets significantly placed in her chart. So it could be someone coming in, but it doesn't have to be. The same with the King. So here we have the leadership energies. So the King of Earth could be saying that you really need to become the leader in your life, especially around your resources and your financial life. And the Queen of Air could be saying that you really need to become the leader in your mental life, but more on a feminine level. So because she is that associated with the divorcee and the widower, she has been through a lot, and she's learnt a lot through her experiences. So she is actually quite wise. So whatever it is you've been going through, which doesn't have to be just this month, it could be some past event that is linked to this time of now. There really is some kind of justice here, because the Queen of Air really almost has very similar. She has the sword, she has the owl. She has similar energies to the Justice card anyway. But then also at the top we have the Fool. So it's a real new beginning here that is coming in here. Then you have the Page of Air for your final card here for this main deck. And the pages are generally linked to children. It doesn't have to be a child. They could be, say, up to 18 years or so. And once again, of the air signs, sorry, not the earth. Air signs, air houses, or the air planets significant in their charts. But it doesn't have to be, once again, it could just be that you are learning about new ideas new intellectual developments in your life related to this justice event. And also this sense of, you know, boredom and dissatisfaction that it seems that potentially the month would be opening with, because it's near the top. So these cards would be more so near the early part of the month. And then this one is more so near the end of the month, which is interesting because we do have that full moon in True Sky Aquarius near the end of the month. And you do have 2 air characters here near the end of the month popping up. The next deck that I have here for you is the Under the Oak Tarot. And on the bottom of the deck, you have the 6 of Pentacles. I'm not sure if you can really see that very well. The 6 of Pentacles really does have that energy around, you know, sharing of resources, especially those that do have with those that don't. So normally there's some kind of situation where someone has a lot of resources and they are choosing to share with those that don't. And having that to clarify the 5 of Earth is interesting, because obviously I was saying earlier that that lacking energy is more on a personal level, and, you know, to try to look outside of yourself to get that help. And then the 6 of Pentacles, which is the next card in, if you were to follow the proper order. But this is in another deck, so it's funny that we have like 5 and then 6 of Earth and then Pentacles here together. You know, really does kind of clarify that card by saying, you know, there is that help is coming, whether it is you're helping those that need help or someone's helping you, but there is definitely that energy there. Then to clarify the 4 of Water, so that was that sense of boredom and, you know, dissatisfaction with your life. You do have the 10 of Cups. So even though we started with that dissatisfied energy, we now have the card that represents emotional satisfaction, complete emotional satisfaction, to clarify that card. So even though that's your starting point, the ending point is emotional satisfaction, which is lovely. So that will be realized this month as well, and it could be early on. Yeah, it is quite interesting. I think that we do have those 2 cards together as well. Then for your crowning card, you have the Fool, that new beginning card. And then to clarify, we have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is another card of satisfaction, but this time it is on the material plane. So your resources, finances, that kind of thing. So there is a new beginning of satisfaction with your material reality, which is really lovely. And then for the 6 of Fire, you have the 3 of Cups. So this card of celebration and victory, which also includes others in your life, is being clarified by the 3 of Cups, which is all about emotional celebration with those that you love and those that are beneficial for you. So potentially that it could even be some kind of, you know, gathering or, you know, definitely spending time with those that really do benefit you, but also appreciate you, and especially around this victory. Then for the 8 of Air, so that was the card of that self-limiting energy, you have the 3 of Wands, which is really quite opposite that energy. So the 3 of Wands is, you know, it's got that wand, passionate kind of energy behind it. And the 3 is, even though it's quite early in the suit, it's very positively orientated outward. It's a very expansive card, and it does suggest even potential travel this month. even if it's not, you know, on an external, like outward level, it could be on an internal level. Like you get really like a strong energy to pursue, you know, things that you are doing, to stretch yourself, you know, to expand your boundaries. Then for the Justice card, you have clarifying the Empress. So there is this sense of justice this month that is very strong, being a central card. And then the Empress also brings an abundant energy with her. So it can represent a pregnancy. So if that is your situation, congratulations. So, and especially here with this justice, so there may have been some kind of blockage or something here, but the Empress is a very, you know, lucky, abundant, fertile force. So that is a really nice combination. And it is interesting that, I mean, the Empress is linked with Venus, and Venus is in Virgo this month and will be, you know, interacting with not just, you know, opposing Pisces, but also Neptune, your ruler in Pisces, and also Saturn, who's also in Pisces still currently, because, you know, some of these energies, like the Saturn energy, even has some of those justice energies attached as well. Then for the card of the World, you have the Moon to clarify here. So there's a bit of a mystery about this ending, this positive, victorious ending. The Moon brings with it potential fears and doubts, but it also can bring dreams and intuitions. So it's a good time to just trust your gut feelings about things. Then for the King of Earth, you have the Seven of Swords. So this card has a bit of a deceptive energy attached to it. This King of Earth figure in your life, which, like I said, could be something you're learning, but it could be someone in your life, could be quite deceptive, and even inclined to some kind of trickery. And then for the Queen of Air, you have the Ace of Pentacles. So this was about being that leader in your life, and on that intellectual level, like turning your pain into wisdom. It has now the energy attached of the Ace of Pentacles, which is about a new financial opportunity. So it seems like there will be some resources coming in this month for you. Not only the crowning card there with the Ten of Pentacles, and then the base with the Ace, and then the Empress in the middle. So all of those cards, clarifying cards, are quite beneficial on a financial type of level. Then for the Page of Air, this is our last major card here in this major deck, first few decks, is clarified by the Page of Wands. So once again, they could be children. The Page of Wands is linked more so to the fire signs and the fire houses and the fire ruling planets. Or it could just be some kind of new passionate new passions arising from these new intellectual ideas, you know, some kind of, which is interesting because it did talk earlier about that new beginning with the Ten of Pentacles. So maybe you're a bit freer financially to pursue some new ideas, some new passions that are arising this month, and that would be probably more so towards the end of the month. The next cards I have for you are the Mists of Avalon Oracle, and on the bottom of the deck we have the Tour. Not sure if you can really see that very well. The Tour. Its energies are around truth, clarity, source, and connection. However, your crowning card is Guinevere. And Guinevere's energies are around beauty, feminine power, sexuality, and love. Okay. So some kind of new beginning on a resource level with those energies attached. That's interesting. And then your central card is Caradwin. Her energies are around inspiration, creativity, transformation, and rebirth. Oh my goodness, rebirth. And that's for this Justice Empress energies here. And then your base of the matter is Arenroot. And her energies are around life direction, fate, karma, and autonomy. And that's for this Queen of Air with the Ace of Pentacles. The next deck that I have here for you is the Shaman Oracle. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Ancestor of Skill. So it's linked to skillful progress, recognizing your abilities, understanding the process of daily living, living skillfully, dancing where others run, finding joy in the skill you already possess. That's the underlying energy of the month there. And your crowning card is the Dancer of Reconciliation, linked with Guinevere here. The central card is the Dancer of Joy, linked with Caradwin, and the Ancestor of Tribes as your base of the matter with Arian. So the crowning card here is the Dancer of Reconciliation, which is linked to energies of balance restored, anger dissolved, restitution of wrongs, inner certainty, resolving doubt and confusion, strengthening bonds, bringing harmony, peacemaking. And then the central card here, the Dancer of Joy, is linked to delight, awareness, hope, happiness, transformation, lightness of being, inclination towards light, divine presence, experiencing pleasure and acknowledgement of truth. And then the base of the matter card is the Ancestor of Tribes, which is linked to support and help without ties, recognition from one's peers, acknowledging the family, unity within the group, and an end to isolation. With Arian Rod there. So the next cards that I have for you are the Ancestral Oracle of the Celts. And on the bottom of the deck, you have the Shepherdess, and says, you need the skills of an all-rounder at the moment. There is a lot to take in, but you can widen your attention to include what's going on. Check the status of the different plans you have running. Be sure to develop and encourage the early stages of a plan or relationship by cherishing it and giving it time and care. I guard whatever is unable to defend itself and bring it safely to full growth. So maybe there is something that you've been working on that, you know, you need to guard and, you know, continue with. The first card, however, that was the bottom of the deck, the underlying energies. The crowning card is the Commander. Then you have the central card, the Queen Mother. And you have the Lad as the base here. So that crowning card with the Commander says, in your hands lies the ability to uphold something of value and worth. Though it may not be valuable in monetary terms, friendships are bound together by honorable exchange. Alliances bridge divides by giving and receiving. I uphold the standard that binds the one in one clan's bond. Clan, that's interesting. Reconciliation. Then for the central card, we have the Queen Mother. The resources you need to get the task done are at hand. If things are taking longer to come to fruition, then you have the patience to see it through. Wait for the right phase and the road will be under your feet. Whatever seems a long way off is coming steadily home to you. I lend my support to all who carry burdens beyond their strength. So it sounds like there's also some support there. And then these underlying energies here is the Lad. So it is time to keep your eye on the ball in this game. While few yet know your potentialities, you know that you can be a good player whom others will respect. Someone is about to offer you an opportunity, so be ready for the power to pass your way. You earn your reputation by the deeds you perform. I enjoy whatever keeps my interest and uses my skill to its utmost. So the last cards I have for you for the month of August, Pisces, are the Moon Witch cards, Oracle, and on the bottom of the deck we have Coven, Power of Sisterhood. Then for your crowning card you have Magic Wand, focus your energy on one thing. Central card is Sekhmet, Courage, Truth, and Shadow Work. Wow, so this is a month of shadow work here. And then Selene for the base of the matter, bring light into somebody's dark sky. So these are the cards that I have for you, Pisces, for the month of August, for this eclipse season. And like I said, the eclipse itself may not be, aspecting anything significant for you, but even just the house placements can show you, the energies that it's going to be working on. And to be honest, the cards that have come out here are quite significant. Even that central last card now talking about shadow work. So looks like there is much healing energy this month for you. There's a lot of healing energy here. If you've made it this far and you've gotten anything out of the reading, if you could like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't already, I'd be so grateful. Thank you to everyone that already has. I really appreciate all of your, lovely likes and comments and subscriptions. I'm really enjoying growing this channel. And I hope you have a fantastic month ahead, Pisces, during this eclipse season. So take care. Bye.